So welcome back folks, this is Shardul Gavande from Ace Knowledge, and in this video we'll see part 2 of RIP, which is Routing Information Protocol. Okay, so as of now you may have understood what is RIP and how does it works. If not, then do watch my previous video so you will have a good understanding of RIP and its working. So let's create a network in this session. So network will be of 3 routers only, no PCs, no switch, and using RIP we will configure it. Okay, so let's take two routers. So we'll take 1841, 3 routers over here, and let's connect them with the help of automatically choose connection type and this router to this router. So I am not connecting router 1 to router 2. We have to configure and send packets from router 1 to router 2. Okay, so we'll follow a traditional method of writing a note so that it is easy to configure. So we'll give IP as 192.168.10.2. For this particular router we'll give IP as 192.168.10.1 for this interface, and this interface, as this router is connected to this router 1 as well as router 2, so it will have two IPs. So 192, second IP is 192.168.20.1. okay, and for the last we have IP as 192.168.20.2. So these are the IPs for a particular router. So let's start configuring it. So we'll get into router 1, we'll go into the CLI or into the config. So before that, check for the interface, in which interface does it lie. So this is FA0/0. So get into FA0/0, enter the IP over here as 192.168.10.2 and enable the port status to on. So for this router, check for the interface. It is an interface FA0/0. So again same thing, get into config, FA0/0, give the IP as 192.168.10.1 and enable the port status to on. So you can see the green light. Once the green light appears, that means your network is configured. So for this, again the same router, we have two IP addresses. So this was FA0/0. Check for this interface, it is FA0/1. so in FA0/1, so this time we'll do through CLI, exit, then en, config t, then int, which is FA0/1. I'll say IP add 192 dot, what is the IP over here, which is 192.168.20.1. it lies in class C address, so we have subnet mask as 255.255.255.0, and then we'll say no shut and exit. So in the config, again you can check for 0/1. Here is the IP which we entered through CLI mode. Okay, so now for this router, so this router's interface is FA0/0. So we'll get into router 2, config FA0/0, and over here 192.168.20.20.2 and enable the port status to on. So you can see now green line has been appeared over all the wires. So now let's test our network from router 1 to router 0, in progress, and it says as failed. Let's check again. Router 1 to router 0, successful. So it takes some time. So from router 2 to router 0, again it will show fail. Okay, so let's test again, router 2 to router 0, successful. So we'll test both again, router 1 to router 0, successful, and from router 2 to router 0, successful. So now we'll check from router 1 to router 2, it shows as failed. So we need to configure this, right, with the help of RIP. So what RIP says, to route the packets through the available networks which the router knows. So this router knows the network of this particular address, this router knows network of this particular address. Okay, so let's put the network address for each router. We need to configure every router in RIP. No matter how many routers do you have to configure each and every router. Okay, so we'll take this first router. So this router will get into RIP, then we'll add the network address. So this router knows is aware of this particular network. So we'll write the network address as 192.168.10.0. okay, so this is my network address for this particular network. I'll click on add, and then into settings, I'll come into settings, and don't forget to save this non-volatile RAM to option as save, so that it has been saved during your whenever your packet has been traced, your configuration is not lost. Then we'll come into this router. So over here, this router is aware of this particular network as well as of this particular network, so it will have two network addresses. So over here now, this time we'll do through CLI. We'll exit from all the commands, then we'll start again. We'll say enable, then config t, then we'll say as router RIP to get into the router config, and over here we'll simply add the network which we want to add, which the router knows the networks to which it is connected. That particular network address we have to add. So this router over here is connected to this network as well as this network, so network address of this as well as this network. So we'll write 192.168.10.0, enter. Again the second network, which is 192. Network address for that particular network 192.168.20.0, and then exit. You can check it over here in the config mode. RIP, two network addresses have been added. Get into settings and NVRAM as save. Similarly for this router now, so this router is only aware of this particular network, so only one network address. We'll get into RIP, network address as 192.168.20.0, and we'll say add, and into settings we'll say as save. So we are done with the RIP configuration of our network. So now let's test it. So router 0 to router 1 to router 0 successful, router 2 to router 0 successful. Now from router 1 to router 2 successful. So earlier it was showing as failed, now it is showing as successful. We'll check from router 2 to router 1 successful. Okay, so this is how you configure your RIP. So this was just for 3 routers. So in the next video we'll see for routers, switches and PCs. That's it from this video. Stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe.